welcome to psychology session. And I'm just going to change, okay, screen. So my name is Izumi Hiramatsu. I'm the course director for psychology programs, except for a couple of master's programs. So we do have another course director, but I can probably explain, I can answer some questions if you have particular questions specific to the master's programs. And if I can't, I will refer you to the course director or the master's programs. Students usually call me Izzy, so feel free to call me Izzy. Next. Okay, Sturt University understands that many of our students have a life outside of university or uni studies. So when I started studying psychology, I was a full-time student with part-time job and then became full-time, working full-time and studying part-time with a family. So we do understand the importance of flexibility, especially in postgraduate programs, postgraduate students. So all psychology postgraduate programs at Sturt universities are offered online. So therefore, the program I'm going to introduce you today is also offered online, and we do have 3 intakes a year. So the session 1, session 2, session 3, so you can start any session in a year. So as we are one of Australia's most experienced online education provider, so there are lots of online support available for our online students. Okay, so I am going to talk about one of our, as I said, psychology programs for people who already have a bachelor degree and are interested in studying psychology. But why do we, I might just ask, so am I, so Bridget and David and Kanika, am I allowed, can I ask, you have a bachelor degree outside of psychology?
I have a psychology degree.
Psychology degree. So are you actually interested in like trying to improve your GPA, or are you interested in 4th year or 5th year study in psychology?
Fourth year. So I graduate at the end of the year in a bachelor's science psychology.
Okay. So I'm actually going to mainly talk about the graduate diploma to begin with, and I'm going to talk a little bit about 4th year. So then you can ask me a question about the 4th year program later.
Yeah.
How about you? No worries. How about you, Bridget?
Yeah, I'm in the same situation. I'm graduating this year as well. Yeah.
Okay. So you're interested in 4th year program as well?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. How about you, David? Not yet. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear you, David. Did you say something?
Izumi, I can see in the chat group that he's said that he graduated in 1995 in psychology.
Okay, so yes, sure. So I think the graduate diploma is the right one anyway. So I just go through this one. So why do you study psychology? So you probably, 2 of you, or no, actually all of you, I understand all this. You know, some students are studying psychology and they're just interested in different aspects of human behaviors or have a vague idea. So they want to actually just help people in general, and studying psychology as a good starting point to figure out what they could do in the future. But the majority of our students are studying psychology as they would like to become a registered psychologist. As you can see, the demand for psychologists in Australia is very high. And the Australian government job outlook website predicts that the demand of psychologists is likely to grow even more until 2023. But you know, as you may have heard in the media, it has been suggested that the current unprecedented event in Australia or worldwide are likely to impact on mental health. And this may also lead to even a greater demand of registered psychologists. No. Okay, so the graduate diploma, probably this is more relevant for David, but it is actually designed for graduates in a field other than psychology who would like to pursue a career in psychology or become a psychologist, and also to give them the opportunities to obtain the 3-year accredited psychology qualification over 2 or 3 years of part-time study online. But however, in the program, we also have students with an accredited 3-year degree already and trying to improve their grade point average for admission into 4th-year program, as well as students who studied an accredited 3-year psychology degree over 10 years ago, who'd like to become eligible again to apply for admission into a 4th-year psychology program. So as you know, Graduate Diploma of Psychology is not a 4th-year program, so it's just to provide students with a 3-year qualification in psychology. For entry requirement, yep.
Yes, I know that, thanks.
Okay, so entry requirements, you have to have a bachelor degree, and then also you have to have completed PSY 101 and PSY 102 or the equivalent from an accredited program. So I am assuming all of you got that one. Now this is a course structure, current course structure for the Graduate Diploma of Psychology. We have 6 compulsory subjects and 2 electives. 1 of developmental psychology and social psychology, and 1 from psychopathology, cognition, and psychology of learning. So I'm just going this quickly because I think all 3 of you are quite familiar with psychology, studying psychology. Okay, so when you are looking for any psychology programs at any level, one important thing you probably know is to make sure the program is accredited by Australian Psychology Accreditation Council, which is the APAC, and this program is accredited as a 3-year sequence of study in psychology. Now I show you the diagram. Okay. So the diagram is from an APAC website, indicate the pathways for general registration in Australia. I have added CSU's programs within the red box text. So as you can see, the Graduate Diploma of Psychology is on the second one from the left, indicating the 3-year bridging program. So the Graduate Diploma of Psychology usually progress into an independent 4th-year psychology program, and then you could apply for provisional registration as a psychologist. At the moment, as majority of our 4th-year graduate go through 4+2 internship pathways, that means working 2 years as a provisional registered psychologist after they successfully complete a 4-year study in psychology. But this so-called 4+2 internship pathway will retire on 30th of June 2022. If you have already done Graduate Diploma of Psychology and going into the 4th year next year, and if you complete the program by the end of next year, you might still have the option to go through, you should. But if you are completing the program after that, you may have to consider, or you will likely to consider, sorry, that's not entirely true. If your program finish before 30th of June 2022, you can still apply for 4+2. However, after that, you have to find another pathway, which is either 5+1 or 5+6. master's program in general. We do have a 5th year program called Master of Professional Psychology. We also have clinical master's program. However, it's currently sitting outside of the diagram, this diagram, because our clinical master's program is one of the few clinical master's program which is available online, and it's only for registered psychologists. So full registered psychologist could actually do online clinical master's program at the moment. So it sits outside of this diagram, but we are currently, as a part of psychology course review process, trying to make it into this, 5th, 6th years of psychology study on the very right in the blue box. So we are trying to make the program into the particular, what do you call it? Option, so that students who finish the 4th year program could directly go into the clinical master's program, our clinical master's program. So it's currently going through approval process. I can't actually provide any more information other than that. So, but that's what we are trying to do as well. Are we okay? Stop me if you have any questions. Okay, so they graduate from Graduate Diploma of Psychology who do well in a program. As you probably know, the 5th year program or 4th year program all have admission requirements, minimum academic requirements, and some other admission requirements. So we, so they, they could become eligible to apply for a 4th year program in psychology. As I mentioned in the diagram, we do have 2 of them at the moment, Bachelor of Social Science Psychology honors and the Postgraduate Diploma of Psychology. Both of them are accredited as a 4th year study in psychology. And from 2022, June 30th, further study will be required to try to become a registered psychologist. But if you finish this 4th year program by the end of next year, you can still, you have a choice option to go through 4+2. Okay, it also provides an avenue to postgraduate studies. So some students who do honors program would go into the, research masters or a PhD like what I did when I was a student. Okay. By the way, these 4th year programs, and the same as majority of 4th year programs in Australia, not all, I can't say all, but our 4th year program has only once a year intake. So you have to be very aware a cut-off or closing date for application, particularly for postgraduate diploma of psychology, because it's competitive as an entry. So if you are interested in applying for this postgraduate diploma of psychology or Bachelor of Social Science Psychology, and even if you are completing your last subject in coming session, you should make sure you apply for these programs prior to the closing date of the application. And I think usually postgraduate diploma of psychology applications for the following year close at the end of October. So just keep that in mind. Now, after students finish the 4th year study, particularly after 2022 June 30th or 30th of June 2022, our 5th year program is Master of Professional Psychology. It is also an accredited 5th year study in psychology, and then further training, if you go through 5+1, is required to become a fully registered general psychologist, to apply for full registration as a psychologist. Does it make sense? Okay. Just in case, I know I have a feeling this is not relevant for you, but there are some students who are studying Graduate Diploma of Psychology just to have a feel of what psychology is, or are interested in just assisting people or helping people working in a different area other than becoming a psychologist. So these are the areas, people find a job after they finish a graduate diploma of psychology or a 3-year bachelor degree in psychology.